Here we are on Observer now with Palm Coast Mayor Mike Norris. So happy to be here with you today. Thank you for inviting us out.
Well, thank you, sir, for coming.
It's a very interesting time here in Palm Coast. A couple of weeks ago, Vice Mayor Teresa Pontieri talking about westward expansion and a lot of her concerns. And when she was finished with her statement, I noticed that you had said, this is the most important issue facing the city right now. And we're here so you can hopefully elaborate on that.
Okay. Well, it's been the most pressing issue for the city for some time now. They started the comprehensive plan review and rewrite back in 2023. And I picked up on it early. When you have a mayor that says he's going to double the size of Palm Coast, you might want to take it a little bit serious. And I did at the time. Um, so their initial allocation entitlements for out there for those two DRIs were 12,000 units. Now with this, their new MPD and the new comprehensive plan, which allows more leniency, they are pushing for 22,000 units. Um, this is a pressing issue for the city, and I understand the vice mayor's concern. And if people go back in time, I tried to table the comprehensive plan when they first brought it to us for, I think, the first read. I tried to table it because I knew full well, and Vice Mayor Pontieri knew too, that we could do a lot of things out there with those DRIs. But the city got the funding for the road, and now we're stuck with what's going to happen out there. The state has a specific reason why they gave the money for that road, and that's because they're going to open up a corridor, County Road 2209, from Jacksonville to Orlando. That's going to be a main ingress and egress route. So that's the state's focus. And I would say that I do feel the city lobbied for that money in part because they were trying to expand out west, and I think the old administration was fully behind that, and they took the steps to change the comprehensive plan. Vice Mayor, to her credit, she found in the DRIs where they were responsible for the road and the sports facility with a junior-sized Olympic swimming pool. We were all taken aback by that when that happened, and that's when I was running for the mayorship, and it became concerning to me then. So we have a lot of work to do, and the vice mayor leaned forward on it and started reading the DRI. I think we received that Thursday before she made those comments, and we know what it's about. They want to do what they want to do, build what they want to build, but it's going to fall on the back of our community if we don't hold them to those standards that were set in the DRI. So that's what $126 million just for the road
It's the
alone.
loop road we're talking about,
It's
right?
the loop road. The loop road will go out from Matanzas. They'll do a flyover, which is an overpass over the railroad tracks, and they'll loop back around to Palm Coast Parkway with another overpass. Plus, we're running into the issue with county about passing over the old brick road on the west side of that property, which is a historic site, and I understand the counties want to preserve it, but they want to do at-grade crossings. And if you do at-grade crossings, you're jeopardizing that historic site. So, and they certainly don't want to spend the money to put overpasses because that's why they got the city to get the money from the legislature for the road in the first place. So we got a lot of things to do. This is the cut sheet. This is all the cut sheets from the staff that they came back, their initial assessment of their MPD. And here's the top 8 that's on the sheet for us to see, and it says summary of major themes: insufficient environmental protection and unclear preservation standards, potential conflict with the land development code, which we're rewriting our land development code now, unclear entitlements, accounting, and possible double counting, reduced city oversight and review authority, inconsistent or weakened development standards, buffers, landscape, infrastructure, significant need for clarification and cleanup of agreement language, infrastructure funding needs clarification, impact on existing infrastructure are not addressed. So our biggest concern is water. And I would hope that everyone understands the deal now with water. We just executed that bond for $330 million. We have not, and I keep saying it over and over. I'm kind of tired of saying it. We have 19,000 houses that are in the development at some point along development that even with that $330 million, we're not going to be able to sustain. And I know full well that the people from Rainier came to our utility department year over year over year asking, how much water do you have for the westward expansion? And they flat out told them none. We don't have it. We just put $330 million on the backs of our residents for water for existing residents and the 19,000 houses we have in the queue. So unless they take drastic measures out there to handle that problem, with water, I would say that we need another water treatment facility and wastewater treatment facility for that type of expansion. So,
and right now, if that's the case, who would be responsible for that?
It would be us. All the stuff in the language in that MPD, they're trying to get off the hook for things like, okay, we'll give you land for a fire station, but we want impact fee credits. Well, how is that going to work for us? We know full well that when it comes to impact fees, it's a 60-40 split. Impact fees do not pay what they need to be paying. We're being sued over that now. We have an active lawsuit because they didn't want us to increase the impact fees the way we needed to with the extenuating circumstances. So if they keep hacking away at it, taking away fees and stuff, then the more the burden's going to be on the residents. And I've been saying this for over 3.5 years because I knew what was going on. I knew what was going to happen. I'm not happy with it. That's why I try to table it because I know it's going to be a burden on our residents. And we have to fight like hell to get them to live up to their agreements from those previous DRIs. We have to keep them, and they have to come forward with some funds to help our infrastructure. Another thing, impact fees. Impact fees does not pay for bodies. It doesn't pay, their salaries, their benefit package. Our benefit package and salaries in our city alone right now with the employees we have is over $55 million. That is a lot of money. And it's just going to put more strain on the sheriff's department, our fire services. All those elements within our city are going to be strained even more if we let them go forward without the proper planning and putting the right measures in to keep them on the straight and narrow and funding what we need to fund.
So some of these things that were talked about, the sports complex, and we heard the vice mayor talking about an Olympic-sized swimming pool, the infrastructure, the roads. You agree that this all should be paid for by the developer?
Yes, our residents are taxed enough right now. We're steadily bringing down the millage rate. That's been over the past 3 years or maybe more. We've cut the millage rate a little bit, but you have to consider the price increase on houses, the market value of the houses. When the property appraiser does those evaluations, he comes back, so your property has increased by this much money over the last 3 years. Now you have to pay this rate. So they're getting more money in tax revenue. We're cutting back a little bit, but the cost to our residents right now it's shifted over to their water rates. We had over 30% increase in water rates. That is a lot of money for a family that's on a fixed income. I think like ours is like $170 a month just for 2 people. Excuse me, with a pretty newer house, energy efficient, everything's straight, no leaks, anything like that. But it'll also increase with the CPI after that. So you can look at 2-3% every year your utility bill increasing. Not to mention the other charges that could come into play, not just water itself, but stormwater, garbage, all those other things that could come along with it. So that developer has to take some major steps to fix this problem.
And so what are those steps at this point? The vice mayor has made it clear she does not support the proposal in its current form.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're saying right now.
Yeah, this was from their first draft to the city. So we're going to work it out. But it's a pressing issue, and we have to have the funding. We can't just bend over backwards for developers. Uh, you look at these two companies, two of the main companies in the city. You got Rainier, and then you got Elite. Elite, these are people that go back way when the city was established. Elite owned the water treatment facilities. We bought the water treatment facilities from them. ITT, which is Rainier, they sold the utility to Elite. And now Elite's suing us over wanting to be vested for water rights in town center. So these companies have been, to me, they have been taking advantage of the city since its inception. And we need people in office that are going to hold them accountable and stop this from happening. Because there's no one in this city that wants the rapid pace of development that we're seeing now. The one thing that we have done as a city council, this city council, we have not approved any major new developments in the time I've been in office. And because that, I think the council understands that there's no appetite for that in this city. And they're pushing the limits. We have legislation that's dwindling our home rule rights as far as administrative approval of some things. So those are things that we're fighting at the state level and local level, and we have to do what's in our power to keep it at bay.
Now, a lot of people, they hear this, and there might be a misconception that, oh, you don't support westward expansion of any kind. Do you see westward expansion as a positive aspect of Palm Coast's future?
I certainly do. I spoke with the staff because they were trying to get a feel of what each city council member wants to come out of this deal. And my two main things I told them is industrial lands and water. So we have less than 3% of our land mass, or 97 square miles currently, is zoned for industrial. That is way lopsided. We need to balance out our tax base and get more commercial industrial in here, paying higher rates, because we can't keep going like this with our residents. It has to be, I hate using the word fair, but it has to be fair for the residents that have put their lives into this community. And so I want them to designate specific areas on that west side of the railroad tracks. That is a great asset, having a railroad track, because you can put spurs for manufacturing. They can load their goods and whatever and ship them right out. But we have to have people willing to set aside those lands for that. I've been trying since I came in office to get more property owners to pony up properties that we can rezone. None of them come forward because it's about the bottom line. That money, and you make more money selling $400,000 stick homes than you do putting in a manufacturing plant for them, not for our tax base, but for them.
So, what is the next step in a situation like this? Is there more negotiation with the developer? Is there room for compromise? Or is there just one thing you have in mind? They have to pay for the infrastructure, they have to pay for the extra amenities, and that's it. What's the next step in this kind of thing?
Well, it's going to be an ongoing process. I think they want to get this done before the end of the year, probably before the elections. And I would rather push it further back. But we have 3 elected officials leaving the city council. Two of them are running for another office. So we have to hold them accountable and do what's right for the city. They only need 3 votes to get this through. And if I don't have the support from the council to say, no, we're not doing that, they only need one. You got 2 people that are, 2 running for office. Mr. Sullivan's gone. He's out of politics. But they only need 3 votes. And Ty Miller and myself are the only remaining 2 that'll be there into the next city council. So we have to keep pressure on everyone on the council. I'm going to do my part. I would not vote for that, at all. Like I said, I voted to table the whole thing because I knew what had changed, the number of houses, and it got kind of heated if you go back and watch that meeting about what was coming. And I tried my best. To table it because they took those steps along the way, and it was, I guess it was a saving grace that Vice Mayor saw in that DRI and said, wait a minute, you're supposed to be paying for that road. But for me, I will not ask for any more money for that westward expansion from the legislature until they fulfill their commitments to this city.
Vice Mayor had alluded to, she made a comment that I guess maybe that they're trying to rush it through to get the MPD passed before this council is out. Do you think there is accuracy to that?
Well, if she said it, I think the same thing.
Mm.
If you the people that are running now, we don't know what all of their stances are, and some of them are less inclined to vote for changes like that. So the council, we'll have a new council in November, but they're going to try to push it through. We just have to negotiate and push them until we get what we need for this city. There's no way we can do it without the support of the developers, especially with water. We just don't have it.
So let's break it down to the simplest terms we can, right?
Yep.
What is the good that can come out of westward expansion? What benefits the city with this happening? MPD going through, we get the deal that we want. What is the good that can come out of this?
I think more land for industrial and commercial, and more variety of housing. But people have to understand this company that we're dealing with. They have Wildlight up in Yulee, and I can pull up a house right now. They have they're building stick homes, pretty much zero property lines. I was up there. I went up to their headquarters. I left their building. I went straight down. Went straight away from their headquarters. Went down one street, took a right, took another right, and I was in a neighborhood. Houses on top of each other, zero property line, 2-story houses, 1,800 square feet, over $370,000. That's not going to help Palm Coast to be able to afford a house like that. And one of the arguments that people on like WNZF, they make this argument all the time. It's like, well, they don't want more development because they don't want to live next to their 20-year-old selves. And I say in response to that, that's hogwash. My 20-year-old self could not afford to live to 56-year-old Mike Norris. You can't afford it. Affordable housing is what you can afford. And there's a formula for it. It's 1/3 of your salary, 1/3 of your salary for housing, to include insurance and all the other stuff that comes along with it. And typical people starting out, young families, can't afford $370,000 houses. And we need more variety. And I think we can get that out there. But I'm concerned about the lot lines and the space and how much resources they're going to suck up. Because the sheriff's budget, the sheriff needs nine new deputies over 3 years, and it's just going to increase with the population. Well, that comes at a price. Impact fees do not pay for that, and we have to do the right thing by our citizens. I don't want to put any more burden on our residents.
So opposite end of the spectrum now. The deal gets pushed through. They have the votes that they need as it's currently constructed. What's the worst that can happen here?
Well, your taxes are going to go up. Your resources are going to be strained. Water resources are going to be strained. Fire rescue, police, all those things, parks and rec, everything's going to be more strained. And it's going to fall on increasing our money towards salaries and benefits, because we're going to take on more staff to handle the load. And we're not ready for it. I've been saying it for years now. We are not ready for what they want to do out there.
And final word to you, Mayor Mike Norris, to everybody watching right now. What would be your final message on this whole situation?
My final message to the residents of Palm Coast is keep the pressure on your elected officials. It's an election year, and they're accountable for their actions, and we have to do the right thing for the city. We can't take on that burden for new development when we have 19,000 new houses or houses in the queue to be built now on this side of the city, the old Palm Coast. So if you don't want your resources strained, you got to fight. You got to fight for it, and I'm going to keep fighting. The vice mayor is a positive vote for me right now, so I don't know the way the rest of the council sits, but we have to keep pressure on them and hold them accountable for what they're planning on doing in our city.
It's your Palm Coast Mayor, Mike Norris. Thank you so much for being with us on Observer
Yes.
Now.
One last thing. The 1st of May is a cutoff for the Mayor Mike Scholarship. We're giving away 3 scholarships, 2 $2,500 scholarships, and 1 $1,250 scholarship. And I don't think I have a kid from Matanzas High School that's applied for the scholarship. So
Oh,
apply. If you want money for college, apply.
explain that a little bit. What is the Mike Norris Scholarship Program?
It's a STEM scholarship because both of our kids are STEM students, and we want to help those kids that are going to study the hard sciences in college, engineering, mathematics, all those things. And a $2,500 cash scholarship helps out a lot. And this past year, they gave them the kids the they split it in half. So the first part of the semester, and then the second part of the semester, they give it to them. But it helps out with books, how you buy a car if you need to, to get around on college campus. But we are very supportive of the Flagler County Education Program, and our kids did great coming out, and we want to do what we can to help the community. That was a pledge I made way a long time ago. So $5,000 of the mayor's salary going towards scholarships and $5,000 going towards food pantries at the end of the year.
Wow.
So we're giving back. We're doing what we can. This is our kids' hometown, and our main objective as a family is to have jobs in this community that our kids can come home to when they're finished, all their other obligations.
All right, rock and roll. Google Mayor Mike STEM Scholarship and get involved if you need to. That is your Palm Coast Mayor, Mike Norris. And again, thank you so much for being on Observer Now with us. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir.